my last video, I explained what wealth is, and it's not just money. Now that you know that, it's time to talk about who has wealth and who doesn't. Of course, it makes sense that older people have more wealth because they've had more life and more time to build their wealth. But there are some alarming statistics about millennial wealth. Spoiler alert, millennials are the largest living adult generation, and they hold an embarrassingly small single-digit percentage of the total wealth in America. Surprise? Well, it just gets better from here. This is Money Talks. I'm Anna Bain. Remember that Federal Reserve Bank wealth distribution tool we talked about in the last video? Well, here's where it comes into play. The wealth distribution in America does not reflect the population. Full stop. This seems like a loaded statement, but that's why we're going to take a deeper look and see the full story of the wealth gap. Like my daddy always told me, the world isn't fair. I get it. There will always be some folks that have more than others. But this wealth distribution is downright offensive. Why is it so offensive? Let's talk about demographics for a minute. Here's the population broken down by generation with some definitions, since no one can agree on who makes up a generation. Millennials are people born between 1981 and 1996. They make up roughly 22% of the US population. There are 72.1 million millennials in America today. Gen X was born between 1965 and 1980. They come in at 20% of the population with 65.2 million members. The baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964. They comprise roughly 21.5% of the population with 71.6 million members. But what's unique about baby boomers is they currently hold 57% of the nation's wealth. And that's according to the Federal Reserve Bank. Gen X holds around 16% of the wealth, and millennials hold just a little more than 3% of all the wealth. Now, wait a minute. According to Pew Research Center, millennials officially overtook the boomers as the largest generation in 2019. That means that millennials are the largest generation and they hold 3% of the nation's wealth. It just doesn't feel right, does it? And yes, wealth is accumulated over time, but millennials on average have less wealth than Gen Xers and boomers did when they were the same age. The median net worth of households headed by millennials in 2016 was about $12,500, compared to $20,700 for households headed by boomers of the same age in 1983. The median net worth of Gen X households at the same age was about $15,100. But why are millennials in the fast lane to earn less and accumulate less wealth than their parents? It ain't just the avocado toast. According to Pew, the median earnings for millennials with degrees is lower than the median earnings for Gen X folks with degrees. Millennials are on track to be the most educated generation, but the cost of student loans and stagnant wages mean many college-educated millennials still live hand to mouth. The median net worth for millennials is 43% less than the net worth of Gen Xers at comparable ages. So, millennials are making less than their Xer and Boomer forebears, and they're paying more to live, and wages just don't have the same purchasing power that they used to, even when you adjust for inflation. The roughly $4 an hour pay rate reported in January 1973 has the same purchasing power that earning $23 an hour does today. But how many millennials are making $23 an hour? I don't know about you, but that's more than I make. Millennials are really feeling the squeeze too. A survey by the Economic Innovation Group found 65% of millennials say they either don't make enough or live paycheck to paycheck. Think about this the next time you want to blame millennials for ruining cable TV, or the car market, the housing market, or mayonnaise, or Applebee's, or really anything else you want to blame us for. Ever thought that maybe we don't have TVs and cars and houses because we can't afford it? In closing, millennials are not as well off as we seem. Low wages, increased cost of living, and an ever-changing economy have crippled wealth earnings for our generation. So maybe it's not that millennials are renting instead of buying because we're immature and irresponsible. Maybe it's because we can't afford it. In our next episode, we'll discuss the racial wealth gap. which is even more disappointing than this one. Sorry, but the truth hurts. Thanks for watching. This is Money Talks, and I'm Anna Bain.